Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Kent County Showground. Thank you for coming up here on a rather rainy, chilly day. Can I encourage you to come back here again in the summer when I can pretty much guarantee baking hot sunshine for the Kent County Show every year? Come back then. Can I briefly say a thank you to the Kent County Agricultural Society, who have pulled this together at relatively short notice and done an extremely good job. They do have a huge amount of experience. That society was formed in 1923. I mention that date because it is a significant year, because in that year there was a December election. And it was a December election which actually had a pretty bad result for the country. It was a December election in which the Conservatives won the largest number of seats, but there was a hung parliament. And there was a Labour government formed with the tacit consent of the Liberal Party. This is something we must not let happen this time, nor should it. The other day, when I was canvassing, I met a man at the bus stop. He was 91 years old, and he said to me, "I am Labour. I have voted Labour all my life, but not at this election." He said, "Jeremy Corbyn is a danger to this country. I am going to vote for your guy." This day, in a week's time, people will be going to the polls. They will be casting their vote. We have to make sure that when they cast their vote, they put the cross in the right place. They put the cross for the right guy. The right guy is the man who can be, who is, and should be our next Prime Minister, Boris Johnson.
Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Good morning, everybody. And thank you, Helen, for your wonderful speech. Thank you for wonderful. Just one minor correction. Don't go to the polls on Friday next week. Go on Thursday. Because that is the day that we need to change the course of this country's history. That's the day we need to get out of the rut that we're currently in. That's the day where we need to get Brexit done and move forward. And look, of course, I know it's wet, I know it's raining. Nobody wanted an election in the run up to Christmas. I didn't want it. Did you want an election now? I love being Prime Minister. And nobody wants to go to the polls in these circumstances. But we had to, didn't we? We had a parliament that was absolutely blocked, that was refusing to get Brexit done. 3.5 years of apathy, 3.5 years of deadlock, division, increasing acrimony, setting the whole country back. And why have we got to get Brexit done? Well, we're all Democrats, aren't we? Whether we voted leave or remain. We want to come together now as a country and move forward, don't we? And we want to honour the will of the people. Number one, we do it for democracy. Number two, we do it for the economy, because increasingly this deadlocked, this broken parliament, jackknifed like a broken down bendy bus on the yellow box junction of our national life, blocking everything. It is stopping investment. It is stopping us moving forward. It's a drag anchor on the economy. You see the story the other day about £150 billion worth of foreign direct investment is going to come to this country as soon as we can get my deal through and move forward. That's what we need to get done. We need to get Brexit done for the sake of our economy, to help people to make their decisions, to end the uncertainty. But there's a third reason, of course, and that's politics. Our politics is blocked by our inability to get Brexit done and move forward. This is a very, very ambitious government that Helen and I are in, and we want to move forward. We have fantastic plans to invest in the NHS. We're already putting in the biggest cash boost that the NHS has seen. 40 new hospitals, 20 upgrades, 50,000 more nurses. And don't let the BBC contradict you. It's 50,000 more nurses that we'll be putting in as a result of the investments that we are making. 20,000 more police. A huge increase in funding both for primary schools and for secondary schools, levelling up investment across the country, and that's what we want to do. We are a one-nation Conservative Party. We believe that there is talent and genius distributed evenly across the whole of this amazing United Kingdom, but we think that opportunity is unfairly distributed. And as Conservatives, we want to give every child in this country the opportunity to make the most of their talents. And that's why we're increasing funding in education. That's why we're putting in fantastic infrastructure. A huge infrastructure revolution will be taking place if we can get Brexit done and get on with government. That's why we're putting in high technology across the country, gigabit broadband, 5G, 6G technology that we will be putting in. That is the opportunity to get on with this national agenda. And we can, can't we? But there's one difference between our government, our party, and every other party standing at the election. It's not only that we want to get Brexit done and move on, but we can because we have a deal, don't we? It's a fantastic deal. It's, as I never tire of telling you, it's oven ready. Put it, well, not that I put it in the microwave, whether it's the oven or the microwave, it doesn't matter, but it's ready, it's ready to go. It's ready to go. We can get that into Parliament and done before you cook your Christmas turkey. If we can get a working majority in Parliament on Thursday. And that is the opportunity for our country. It's a fantastically exciting moment for the UK to move forward. And what is the alternative? What is Jeremy Corbyn offering? Instead, more paralysis, more deadlock, more delay, a Corbyn-Sturgeon coalition in which they would have two referendums, one on Scotland, when the people of Scotland were told expressly that that was a once-in-a-generation choice in 2014, another one on Scotland, and then, of course, another one on the EU. And what is his position on the EU? Does anybody know? Have we sent out search parties to discover Jeremy Corbyn's position on the EU? Which side is? Well, he's evolved in the course of this campaign. He's busy, he used to be indecisive. Now he's not so sure. What he now says is that he's going to be neutral. He's going to be neutral on the greatest issue facing our country. That's what he's going to be. And as a result of having a Corbyn-Sturgeon coalition, the whole country would be stuck in neutral for next year, the year after, for the next part. It would be a disaster for our politics because he doesn't have a deal and he has no plan to get it. He can't even say which member of the shadow cabinet would even negotiate his so-called deal. Because Keir Starmer, who I think is his shadow Brexit secretary, made it very clear that just this morning at the Labour press conference that he's going to campaign for Remain. So who's going to negotiate this deal? Jeremy Corbyn's neutral on it. Who believes in it? Nobody. The country will be put through another year of agony, chaos and confusion, holding the economy back, holding this whole country back. So the choice is very clear, everybody, isn't it? Go for a one-nation Conservative Party that will take this country forward. And we, by the way, we back the police. We believe in investing in 20,000 more police officers, supporting them when they do stop and search. We want to have longer sentences for serious and violent criminals. We want terrorists to serve their full term in jail. Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party oppose that. We back our armed services. Jeremy Corbyn actually wants to disband our armed services. We back MI5 to keep us safe. John McDonnell has said he would like to scrap MI5. We back the NATO alliance that has kept this country safe and kept 1 billion people around the world and now keeps 1 billion people around the world safe. Jeremy Corbyn has actually said that he wants to disband NATO. We back business. We back small businesses. We back businesses in this country. And that's why we're cutting business rates. That's why we're cutting national insurance for 31 million people in this country. Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party actively say, and these are the words of John McDonnell, that he wants to foment the overthrow of the whole capitalist system. And that is what they would do. And by the way, the consequences for everybody would be disastrous. Their tax bill, it's not just that they would put up interest rates so that everybody's mortgages were hit. Everybody was paying more for the cost of their mortgage as a result of their borrowing. But they would put up taxes for people on incomes as low as £20,000 a year to the tune of £1,000 more in tax. That is the consequence of Corbynomics. Never forget that the Labour Party always end up with an economic crisis. That's what happened in 2010. This lot would start with an economic crisis. Let's give that madness a miss, everybody. Let's not go down that way. Let's get Brexit done and take this country forward. And that's the choice. It's a choice between chaos and confusion under Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party, puppeteered, supported by Nicola Sturgeon, or else a one-nation Conservative government taking this country forward. I know what I want for Christmas. I hope that you agree. Let's go forward. 6 days' time. Let's get it done. Thank you all very much for coming on this morning. And let's get this country. And if we can get Brexit done, then we can. And if we can get Brexit done, if we can get a working majority in Parliament next week, then we will finally be able to get this country out of neutral, into first, into second, third, fourth. How many gears does that thing have? Fifth, top gear, and we will get the whole nation. We will get the whole nation motoring again. That's our objective. That's our ambition. Thank you all very much for coming this morning. Now, wait, I have to take some questions from the media, which is a joy. I don't think there's ever been an election campaign in which the Prime Minister has responded so joyfully to questions from the media. I'm going to go first to Ben Wright of the BBC. Ben? Laura. Sorry, Laura.
Ben and I are always in joyful harmony. Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. You say you want to get the country into the right gear, but the former leader of your party thinks you're in the wrong gear. What do you say to the former Conservative Prime Minister who doesn't think that voters should back you this time?
Well, I think it's very sad, and I think that he's wrong, and I think that he represents a view that is outdated, alas. Greatly though I respect him and his record, and I think that what we need to do now is honour the will of the people and get Brexit done. And it's very, very simple. And I just return, Laura, to the three reasons. It's about democracy. It's about honouring, and it's fundamental. That's, people go on and on about, trust and belief in politics. Well, actually, that is the key issue at this election. It's only if we get Brexit done that we can restore trust in politics. Number two, it's about the economy. The current confusion is a drag anchor on our progress as a country. We can do it. We can move forward. And it's also, of course, about what we want to do as a one-nation Conservative government. So for all those reasons, I must respectfully disagree with my illustrious predecessor and urge people on Thursday, come on, let's get this thing done and vote Conservative. Wait a minute. I got a list. Paul.
Thank you, Prime Minister. I want to read to you from the leaked Treasury document today that Labour's putting around, which details the impact on Northern Ireland of your Brexit deal. Customs checks, yes. Rules of origin checks, yes. Regulatory checks, yes. You told Northern Ireland businesses earlier in this election campaign they could put those forms in the bin. So who are they supposed to believe here?
Well, I haven't seen the document you're referring to, but that's complete nonsense. And what I can tell you is that with the deal that we have, we can come out as one whole UK, England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, together. We can do free trade deals together. We can take back control of our money, our borders, our laws. We can have our own immigration system. And again, you look at the Jeremy Corbyn's proposed deal. Under no circumstances is he or his colleagues going to take back control of immigration. They would have unlimited, uncontrolled immigration on any view of their proposals. As everybody knows, I've always been in favour of us being open to people of talent to come to this country. I don't think it's sensible to slam down slam up the drawbridge, slam down, slam up the drawbridge. I think you've got to remain accessible to talent, but we should have it democratically controlled, shouldn't we? And that's why people want us to get on with Brexit. So let's get it done. And it's quite staggering, by the way, as I say, that Mr. Starmer is not willing. He's meant to be negotiating this Brexit deal, right? Does anybody understand this? He's supposed to be negotiating Labour's new Brexit deal, but he's going to campaign for Remain. I mean, what on earth do they think they are doing? How can they put the country through that kind of satirical waste of time, a waste of money, and a deadlock, division, and confusion? I'm going to go now to Kate McCann, Sky News.
Thanks. Prime Minister, I just want to go back to that Northern Ireland document, the Treasury document, because it's been produced by your own government. You were asked at the start of this campaign and you said no checks, no extra details for Northern Ireland exports whatsoever. But this document says the exact opposite. It's produced by your civil servants in your treasury.
Well,
so are you now saying that the voters of this country shouldn't trust your government and they should believe you instead?
They should believe exactly what I say, which is there will be no checks on goods going from GB to NI, from NI to GB, because we are going to come out of the EU whole and entire, and that was the objective that we secured. And by the way, it is a vast improvement on the original proposal, which would indeed have carved out Northern Ireland and kept it in the EU for all sorts of purposes, and we're able to do a fantastic deal for our country. And now is the time to seize it. And if there are any, by the way, one of the great benefits of the deal that we've done is if there's any particular that the people of Northern Ireland don't like, then of course they are entitled. All those provisions automatically elapse in 4 years' time. But if there's anything that they don't like, then they can vote to stay in alignment with the EU for those purposes. But it is a fantastic deal that allows us to get out as a whole country and move on. And the great virtue of our deal, of the thing that we've done, is that it ends the wrangling and the bitterness in Parliament, and we move on. Every one of the 635 candidates standing, or 600 and something, 30 something candidates, something else, I think it's more than 630, standing at this election has approved our deal. And that's in stark contrast to the Labour Party, where I think at least 100 of their candidates say that they want to back Remain. So, you know, if you want to get this thing done, if you want the country to move forward, you've got to vote Conservative. And I'm going to go to George Parker.
Prime Minister, some people say that we're living in a post-truth age, and I'd like to go back to the Northern Ireland question. You just said there will be no checks on goods going from GB to Northern Ireland under the deal you struck with the EU. Either you don't know the detail of your policy or you're lying. Which is it?
Well, George, you know perfectly well that goods going from NI-GB, GB-NI will have no checks. The only checks will be for goods that are going via NI into Ireland. Everybody understands that, and that's how we avoid a hard border between Ireland and Northern Ireland. That's a fantastic thing that we've achieved. It's a great deal. Labour has no deal. If there's any particular that the people of Northern Ireland don't like about that deal, then of course they're entitled to opt out of it in 4 years' time. We have a fantastic deal. It's ready to go. It's unlike any other offering before the people of this country. Let's get it done and move on. And that is what I commend to everyone. And I'm going to go to Liz Pearce from Reuters, and then Henry Zeffman from The Times, and then we're going to wrap it up. Liz.
I'm afraid I'm Piper, not Pearce, but there you go.
Sorry.
Liz Piper. It's a good name.
I'm so
anyway,
sorry.
Don't want to hammer on about Northern Ireland, but even your former allies in the DUP agree with this document that there will be checks. Why couldn't you persuade them to even come on board with your deal?
Well, of course, you know, there are people entitled to take different views about this election, and you know, the DUP have a different agenda from our own. But it's a fantastic deal that enables us to get Brexit done and move forward. And as it says very, very clearly, Northern Ireland is part of the customs territory of the UK, and goods originating in Northern Ireland have unfettered access to Great Britain. And that's what the deal says. And I think you would all concede that. Henry Zeffman of The Times.
You said at the end of your speech there that you think you've taken more questions from the media than any campaign ever.
Yes.
Whether that's correct or not, you haven't sat down with Andrew Neil.
Why don't you ask a question yourself?
Well,
Come on,
I will ask one of the questions that he asked in his monologue. I don't know if you've seen it, which he did at the end of his one with Nigel Farage last night. Have you seen it, in fact? Where he said, how can we trust the Prime Minister to sit down with President Xi and President Trump on our behalf if he can't spend half an hour with Andrew Neil? What's the answer to that?
Well, as I say, I think most people would say that I think I'm the only Prime Minister to have done not one, but by tonight 2 head-to-head debates. I've done 118 sit-down interviews with journalists. I've fielded innumerable questions at press conferences. We cannot accommodate everybody. There's a guy called Lord Buckethead who wants to have a head-to-head debate with me. Unfortunately, I'm not able to fit him in. We can't do absolutely everything. And on the substantive point that you make, which is about trust in this in politics and this election, the issue before the country is, after 3.5 years, politicians of all parties are held in low esteem because they have refused to get on and deliver on the mandate of the people. And it is utterly shameful. And now is the time to do it. We have a great deal. It's ready to go. I suggest that people vote for it on Thursday. We can get Brexit done. We can move the country forward, unleash the potential of the whole country. Now, that is as many questions as I'm going to take for now, but the campaign is not yet over. Thank you all very much for coming on this morning. Thank you.